Good morning, good afternoon, heck, good evening too. It's been one of those days. You guys wouldn't even believe the story if I told you, but I'm sure you actually would, because you know I don't lie, don't need to. So here's what happened. I was on Mike Zuber's course yesterday, and my power supply blew on my machine. And I can tell you, finding a tech that doesn't have a 2-year waiting list or 2-week waiting list is nearly impossible. However, kudos to, let me just look it up, make sure I get their name right. These guys, this guy, the owner of the place, he, such an unbelievable guy. We called him, he said, hey, he goes, yeah, I'm shutting down for the long weekend. And I said, okay. I said, I do a live stream on Sundays. I said, I'm pretty sure it's the power supply. He goes, all right, sounds good. He goes, yeah. He's like, you know what? He's like, if you want to drop it off tomorrow, being today, which is Sunday, if you want to drop it off, I'll take a look at it. And I said, okay, you got it. I literally get there. I drop it off. He goes, you know what? I'm not doing anything for the next few hours. Let me just take a look at it. If it's a power supply, I can probably get you right back up and going. God bless this guy. So we've got the kids. We took a quick drive around. Half hour later, he goes, I've got it diagnosed. I know exactly what it is. And I've got the part in stock and I can do it right now for you. I was like, that is amazing service. So Hampton Computer in Hampton, New Hampshire, Hampton Computer, Hampton, New Hampshire. The guy was unbelievably gracious. Just an absolute, guy was awesome. Dave is the owner's name, spectacular, super guy. He's the only reason that we are actually having a live stream today, was because he was able to change out that CPU that fast. So yeah, I wanted to kind of still do this in the time that we usually have for each other on Sundays. But yeah, Dave from Hampton Computer, same day repair. He isn't joking. Sunday on a holiday weekend, he was that good of a guy to actually do this. Unbelievable. What a good guy. So, because I know that I was late, and what was really funny was, I notified on LinkedIn, or excuse me, I notified on Facebook, both groups. I then also notified on Instagram, but then I didn't cancel the actual event. Water finding its level, everybody, right there. Water finding its level. So anyway, we're here. We're here to get into it. I cannot wait to see, all right, some comments and how you guys react when I'm late. I just can't wait to see it. So without further ado, let's have some fun. We're going to talk real estate today. We're going to talk lots of real estate today. Feel free to put your questions in the box. Any question is a good question. We cover anywhere from I'm thinking about becoming a real estate investor to I own 300 units. We cover the whole gambit. So I'm happy to talk about anything, answer any questions that you have. What I am going to take a quick second to do is I'm actually going to update the Facebooks and everything, just to make sure everyone knows that we're on. We are on and live. Come join us. That's one group. We are on and live. Come join us. And we are going to make sure that we have a lot of folks show up and answer a bunch of folks' questions. And then let's see, last one on Instagram. Post. We are on the live stream. Come join us. late, but not missed. All right. All right. So let's jump in. We'll talk some real estate. Again, my apologies. That power supply issue. I am not a computer tech. I work in technology, but I'm not a tech. So there you go. That's what happened. Tamika L, good morning, Lumberjack. It was great seeing you and Dion support Zuber's inaugural Zoom yesterday. Absolutely. Love to do it. You guys are all awesome. Thank you, Tamika. I appreciate that. You're awesome. You still do this if you are crazy busy. So I love that. Tamika's going out and getting it. Keith Hager, good morning. Good morning, Keith. Mandy W, good morning. Marisha, hello. Brian, I made it to the live stream. You made it. I missed it, but not from anything I can control, but I did fix it. Theta Hedge Capital, morning, everyone. Dion talk financial freedom. Now we just need Matt to make it. Exactly. True story, right, Dion? Rob, someone's late. It was me. It was me, everybody. I was late. Brian, if not, Master Dion can teach us. Yeah, I didn't want to put him on the clock for today. I figured he would just be a passive investing, if you will. Rob, not saying who. Rob, there was a sale on Rice Krispies. Matt had to go. There was not a sale on Rice Krispies. And I probably wouldn't leave you guys for a sale on Rice Krispies, but I would have Ashley go run and get some. Kip Stevens, SOS Properties. Good morning, sir. Hope the family's doing good and the kids are getting back to some normalcy. We are off of quarantine we're off of quarantine next week. So yeah, really very ready to be off of quarantine for sure. We've been doing that since Labor Day weekend 2021. Whew, yeah, it's been a long time, but we are blessed because we're getting the result we'd all hope for, which is Eliana's doing great with her treatment. Keith Hager, MLS listings are increasing here, and not to mention price range. Yep, only high end and scrapyard. Yeah, so I'm seeing that like the stuff that's going to foreclosure, and it's still not foreclosed. It's a lot of pre-foreclosure. The stuff that I'm seeing there is it's the junk of the junk. Like there's a reason that it's being foreclosed on is because they're nowhere near where they need to be in order to sell it. It's that we're truly seeing the junk of the junk, but that's okay. I like buying junk, like stuff that just needs everything. It costs me just as much to tear apart a B that needs to be gutted as it does a D that needs to be gutted. It costs me less to do it when there's already a bunch of that demolition work that's been done because project failed or something else like that. So yeah, so it's pretty good. That was actually my lunch yesterday when I was eating during the live stream. It was delicious. I believe Matt, excuse me, Matt, trying to summon him like Beetlejuice. Usually that works actually. Dion Talk Financial Freedom. I believe Matt canceled on Facebook. I did. I canceled on Facebook, both groups, One Rental at a Time and Three Amigos. And then I also canceled on Instagram. However, I didn't cancel the actual event. Water finding its level right there. I'm like, you got to be kidding. And then to do it from my phone, I couldn't get into studio to do it. For those of you who don't know, YouTube has a studio where you can do that stuff. And I couldn't do it. Mandy W, that is too bad, but thank you for letting us know. I'm back. Hope everything is okay. Yes, Mandy, thank you for your concern. Everything is okay. Literally, my PC, the power supply blew up. Yeah, no joke. Rob, no, he can't cancel. If he cancels, I have to go back doing yard work. I'm here for you, Rob. I didn't want you to have to do any more yard work, my man. I'm here for you. Kip Stevens, his coffee is taking effect a little earlier than usual. So funny story is I don't drink coffee. I'm this wired all the time. I don't drink coffee. No code on. Hey, Don, good to see you, my friend. Matt, where are you? Here I am. Here I am. Only a broken power supply would keep me from you without putting out notice. Kip Stevens, we had electrical issues, blown up course power supply. You just posted on IG. Yep. Yeah, that's what happened. And this computer guy, Hampton Computer in Hampton, New Hampshire, look Dave up. He's honest. He's fast. He didn't have to fix my machine on a Sunday. Like he didn't. They're not a 24-hour shop. They were closed yesterday. I got him literally a half hour before he closed. And he said, you know what? We're closed tomorrow and Monday, but come on down. I'll take a look at it. I'll see if I can get you okay. And he did. Like, what? Just such a good guy. And so it's funny because that's where I actually grew up, was that area. And it's about a half hour, 40 minutes from our house. But yeah, that's what I did. I drove down there just to get that thing fixed. After we did a move in this morning. Yep. Somebody was like, is there any way I can move a couple days early in? And I was like, actually, the tenants finished moving everything out yesterday. And we got our pictures. So yeah, you can do it. I really do need to get a drink, but I'm not going to do it and give people PTSD that show up and see that the live stream's on and that there's no one here. So yeah, so I'm back. Rob, yay, stopping the yard work. Good for you, Rob. I actually, I can be listened to while you're doing yard work too. Matt, the basics should be in my house rules on my MTR midterm rental. Yeah. What basics should be in my house rules? Basics. Number of people. I would put that in there. I would have some sort of like a disturbance call thing, like, 2 strikes you're out, 3 strikes you're out sort of thing. I don't do midterm rentals, but these are things that you'd have to check in your state to see if they're allowed like they are in my state. So in my state, I don't do midterms. I guess midterm maybe like a 6-month. I don't really do those anymore. I found them to be too much of a pain in my rear, and I didn't get any real premium. It was like I got a little bit of a premium, but it was washed out by all the stuff that I had to do. Like it just didn't make sense. Like posting it again, interviewing again, people again, like just wasn't worth it. But I would have something around noise complaints. I would also have something around like the keeping of the outside, just like keeping it nice, especially with your being in San Diego. And number of people. The number of people thing is the biggest thing. People that don't have that in their lease, they've shown up and they've had 16 people in the house. And you're just like, what the heck? This is a 4-bedroom. Well, if you split it 16 ways, it just got a whole lot less expensive. So yeah, that's a problem. But yeah, it's crazy. I do agree with All Night Hider. I just saw what you put there. I can put the lumberjack here. He doesn't talk, so depending on who you talk to, that might be a good thing. But that's what I would look at, Rob. All-nighter hider. Good morning, everyone. I'm here. We can start now. All-nighter hider. You know what's really funny? We literally just started because my power supply blew, and so I was almost an hour late getting on here. And that was even driving 40 minutes back from the shop where I got a guy to fix me on Sunday. Good people, man. Good people. Good people. Tony Carr, good morning, Lumberjack Lander. Good morning, Tony. Vatsal, hey, good morning. Good morning to you as well, sir. You need a be right back sign so you can prop up in front of the camera or some kind of programmed intermission. True story. Yeah, it's good. So Eliana just went down for a nap, and then the other 2 kids, they've had their heart set on swimming in the pool today. So today they're in the pool. Perfect. You're right on time. See, that's what I thought, right? So if anybody wants to blame anybody, blame All-Nighter Hider. It was his fault that I was late because I couldn't start until he was ready. So your fault. Let's see what else. So I wanted to talk about inventory. Inventory is definitely increasing. If you heard Angels getting their wings this morning, that was me commenting on Reventure Consulting's questions area on his last 2 most recent videos. Professional snowflake melter right here. Those shirts are on order, by the way. So our Lumberjack Landlord shirts. We were really particular in who we wanted to use. And we wanted to make sure that we could pass on a good price. And so we just had to work with a vendor that was willing to work with us for price and all this other stuff, because we didn't want them to be $40 shirts. I hate that stuff. Or even $30 shirts. They're not going to be anywhere near that. We're trying to get them for sub 20 than just shipping and handling. But decent quality, not like the lousy t-shirt ones that fall apart. This vendor that made this shirt This shirt has been worn no less than 150 times and doesn't have any holes in it. So that's what we were kind of going for. But yeah, that's what we're doing. The Riley A-OK. Hey, good morning. Yep, we're doing it live. Good morning, everybody. That's right, we're doing it live. Rob, are you throwing any owner financing offers out there yet? Not yet. We're really trying to find some properties that we want to do that on. Can't do it if they've owned it for a year or two. They need to be longer in the tooth landlords. Quite frankly, my profile, right? My profile, 20 years in the business, owned a ton of stuff for 20 years, or a decent amount of stuff for 20 years. I think we've owned, I don't know, 20 of our units, maybe about maybe 15 years, I think, in this market. So we're not doing anything yet, but we're prepared. The big thing for us was making sure. So I'll tell you what I'm spending time on right now. We bought a mate. So I believe the opportunity in my market was last year. There will be another opportunity, but last year, the price ratio of a single family home to a duplex per unit was way off. It was 350 to 360,000 for a modest 3-bed, 2-bath. It was only 450 for a duplex that was a 3-bed, 2-bath, as an example. In fact, 4.25. And I got 3-bed, 2-baths in that triplex. Now, do the math real quick. So you're about $140,000 a unit, right? As opposed to $350,000 a unit. Well, as you can imagine, that's a deal that absolutely crushes when it comes on, when you look at returns. So based on that, I did as many of those deals as I could, because every single one that I was putting together was 20, 25, 30, 35 points. Like massive returns on capital, massive, because I was getting, 3% or 3.5% rates. 4% rates. I did get 3.5 on one specific thing, but that was one exception thing. I got 4s across the board. So actually 3.75 and 4. So the focus was getting as many of those units purchased as possible, because I wanted to be ready for the downturn, where I could keep guys that aren't working during the downturn working. I wanted to be able to say to guys that did have a 1-year backlog and wouldn't take my phone call, to now, yeah, sure, I can use you for this project, but it's going to be a different rate. That's what happened in 09, 10, 11, and 12. And I think the same thing will happen now. The crash, it's not going to be a crash, it's going to be a correction. But I think that the recession's coming, which means that with fewer houses selling, with fewer transactions, there's going to be less work to be done. And the people that wanted to do work in their existing house, I think a lot of that's going to already be done. So that means I can get subs for less money. Materials are going to be, lumber's already half the price. So I wanted to have a bunch of units that we could basically get ready. What we do is we actually don't evict anybody right away. We don't do cash for keys. We don't say, hey, get out. We don't make the seller get rid of them. We want an easy transaction. So what we actually do is we just go through a process and kind of see after 3, 6, 9 months. All right, is this a tenant that we like? Are they good? Are they reasonable? Do they call us when there's a real problem? Do they call us when there's not a real problem? And it's just kind of a pain in my bottom to manage problem. So we spend a lot of our time like that. And so what we really did was position ourselves, position the portfolio to make sure that we can handle that, and make sure that we can handle redoing a bunch of units, bringing them out to market at a higher price, and seeing, kind of what shakes out. So that's what we did. And so I am not being proactive in doing any seller financing type of deals. My network knows who I am. I'm pretty well established. So I still listen to multiple deals a week, and still looking my market every single day, but I haven't seen anything really that great. Something that if I just take an existing unit, redo it, and rent it out for significantly more, that's a far better return on my capital than doing another property, because I really stocked up last year. So I think from July from July to March, so basically 3 fiscal quarters. From July to March, I think I bought 14 deals. That's a lot for me. That's a lot. Usually in that amount of time, I would do 4, 3 or 4. So 14 in that short of a time frame. I mean, we did it because the deals were there. The money was nuts. The return. Everyone said, oh, the pricing's crazy. It wasn't. Not with a 3.75 interest rate. It wasn't crazy at all on any level. And so now we only have a couple things that have higher rates, but they were just going to be too expensive to refi out of because they're commercial loans and the way they do a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 reverse fee, it just gets too expensive. So yeah, that's what we did. So nothing. So Rob, long answer. No, nothing there yet, my friend, but there will be. All-nighter hider. My daughter and I will. Very cool. We'll be starting a shirt biz when I get back in August. Very cool. Yeah, it's definitely something you can get some margin on. And that's what we know about the business. We don't want people to go out of business being our business, working with our business. However, if I'm going to make it that easy where it's literally just an email, hey, I need 100 more, I do expect some sort of a discount because I'm goofy like that. Because at the end of the day, it's not for margin for me. I just pass it on because I don't like expensive things. I don't like having to pay for expensive things. Indy Zimmer. Hey, Indy. Good. Glad to see you. I know you're doing the work. Keep on doing the work, Indy. All-nighter hider. She wants to make shirts for her friends and I want her to get some good experience. Win-win. Yeah. Heck yeah. We do that. We do that with Samuel. He's 4. Yeah. Yep. He comes out with us. All of them do actually. Rent collection, eviction notices. They come out for everything. Garbage runs. My kids will not be spoiled. Those spoiled with love is about as spoiled as they'll get because they participate. They participate. He's helped me come pick up. I mean, he's 4. He's come to help me pick up trash in the yard one time. So yeah, yep, yeah, totally. I love that. All-nighter hider, raising them right. Mandy W, what kind of stuff on an inspection report should make you pass on a property instead of trying to negotiate the price down? Almost nothing would make me not at least take a swipe at negotiating the price down. The reason for that is, Mandy, is because they're now aware that there's a problem of whatever that magnitude is that would make you walk away. And now that's going to be a problem for every other one of their people because they then at that point, they have to disclose because they've been made aware that there's some problem that they may not have seen before. At that point, they have to change the listing to as is, if they don't want to have to deal with that, or they're going to have to make a concession to somebody else. And quite frankly, they might already be 3 weeks into this offer with when you're getting inspections and having those conversations, 2 or 3 weeks. That it's worth them at least having the conversation with you. So I've bought stuff with foundation problems. I've bought stuff with sill problems, which is the wood that sits underneath the house, but between the actual house and the top of the foundation, that's your sill, which are usually an expensive fix. Thousands. Heating systems. So the big ones are structural damage like a sill, foundation, that can be structural too. Roof, heating system, heating, cooling system. Those are kind of the big 4. None of those would make me walk away, just flat out walk away from a property. 2 out of 4 of those wouldn't make me flat out walk away from a property. I'm still in it. I just need to know what that's going to cost. And because of my experience, I know what it's going to cost, but you can get somebody else to quote it. But as an example, house I just bought, I knew that I was going to have to redo the roof. I knew that I was going to have to redo one of the heating systems there. And I knew that I was going to have to redo a bunch of the electrical that was there. So I basically called out, I knew what the ballpark was. I figured on the electrical side, it'd be $25,000 to $30,000. I talked to a couple of my electricians and one of them said that number is probably pretty good. They said, but you might want to add some on top just in case. So I put 35. On the roof, I knew the roof was going to be about 20. And on the heating system, it was just for a specific unit. So it wasn't going to be crazy expensive. So I think all totaled, that was $60,000. I went back to them. I asked for a $50,000 credit, or I asked for a $60,000 credit. They came back and I think that they gave me a $50,000 credit. So the extra 10 grand, whatever. It was fine on that size of a building. That was $1 million plus building. So that's what I did. So there's nothing that would necessarily scare me away so much that I wouldn't at least quote it out, have the conversation, add some money on top of the quote because of my time, my effort, and then see if they want to go for it. And if they do, great. And if they don't, then I can always walk away at that point. But if it was a great deal when I was buying it and I'm getting credit for all the things that are problems and it's still a great deal, that's like a no-brainer, right? So yeah, so I always stick in it, really trying to put together any transaction we possibly can. And I had one person come back at list price again. And so they came back and said, yep, we got a response to your offer, list price. Okay. All right. I took the credit that I was asking for, and I don't know if I should tell you this. Yeah, I will. So I took the credit that I was asking for, which I think was like $15,000, and I made it 20. Now, could that have pissed them off? Sure, but they were risking that they were pissing me off with the whole renewal of list price. So we wrote back and we said, yep, this is our new offer because we're taking into consideration the additional time we think that may take. And the seller's agent said, are you serious? You're coming back with an even lower offer? My agent said, you guys came back at list price. It has problems. We looked into it deeper. It's going to cost us more money. And by law, she has to present the offer. She has to. So she did. She presented the offer and they actually came back and they lowered their price. Not as much as we wanted, but I got like 10 grand off. So yeah. The key is I negotiate like it doesn't matter if I'm going to get the deal or not. There's the next house. I'm not emotional about this stuff. There's a couple that I've gotten emotional about, and admittedly I've paid more than I had to. But those were properties I had to get. I just had to, because of proximity to other stuff that I own, shared lot lines, all sorts of goofy stuff like that. So yeah, so it worked out. But yeah, to that point, I would negotiate any price down. BD rentals and investment properties. Do you use the binder strategy? I used a modified version of the binder strategy. So I've been doing this for 20 years. And so what we've always done is reach back out to tenants when they're up for renewal and just say, hey, it's been a great year having you, if it has in fact been a great year. Hey, it's been a great year having you. I'm sure you know there's a number of properties that the property market's crazy right now. The number of days on market's almost nothing. And we kind of take them through that scenario. Instead of doing it in person with an actual binder, we have a lot of people that are in their mid to late 20s and they respond a whole lot better to text. So we just say, hey, there's this, and this property that are out there right now. We saw that they're available. Here's what the price range is. You're a great tenant. We'd love to keep you. But just know that if you decide that you want to move on, please just let us know. We completely understand. And we'll start doing showings next week. We always get a response back very quickly from that. It's not always a yes, but we always get a response back very quickly. And that response back is, would you be willing to take blah, blah, blah. So we just did that on one. They were paying $2,300. I said properties in that neighborhood are going for $2,800 to $3,000 or $2,700 to $3,000. They wrote back and said, would you take the $2,700? Did I need to squeeze them for another $100 or $150? No, I didn't. They're great tenants. They never bother me. If there's something that comes up that's small, they take care of it. If there's something that comes up that's big that they need my help, then they reach out. Fire, flood, or blood. That's what Dion says. I love it. I tell my people all that all the time. Hey, Fire, flood, or blood, call me. Don't text me. Everything else, text me. So yeah, so we did that. I used kind of my own version of the binder strategy. Dion's a brilliant teacher. So he does a much better job. If you watch baseball at all, I am Manny Ramirez. I go out there and I can hit the cover off the ball, doing any part of the game. Really good. I'm elite. Teaching how I swing the bat and make contact with the ball and hit 40 home runs and hit 320 with 115 RBI. Not very good at that. That's why I'm better at answering questions. Creating a lesson plan and taking you guys through it, not my gift. My gift is doing the hands-on work and setting up a structure on a project that gets the project done cleanly, clearly, efficiently, and for the lowest price possible. Because we don't like grinding our contractors. We will grind suppliers, but we won't grind our contractors. We have multiples, so we don't have to. We just say, okay, I get it. You're too busy to do it. We've got someone over here that can do it. So makes it easy. So hopefully that answered your question. Keith Hager, with a high cost of supplies, have you temporarily stopped flipping? So I don't flip very often. Mike actually flips a lot more than me, even though he's not the hands-on one that does it. He has flipping crews. I don't like flipping because the quality, and I'm not saying that Mike doesn't do quality. I'm saying for me, I do high-end quality, not kind of what he calls pride of ownership. So I do high-end stuff in a lot of cases with my units, and it doesn't pay to flip those. I've done all the hard work. I've done everything the right way. I know that now I don't have to touch anything for 10 years. Guess what I want to do? I want to hold on to the property for 10 years. So I've only flipped a handful of properties, and a majority of those that I flipped, when I started the process, they were buy and hold. When I got through the process, I pivoted because the amount of money that was being talked about for those units was so off the charts crazy. I was just like, yeah, you can have it for that. Yep. And those people actually still got a good deal. Just for me, it wasn't worth what my rent was going to be on that to only take that rent when I could take all the profit. For them, they're paying their mortgage, they're still getting their rent, and it's still an over 10% return deal. So it's still a really nice deal for them. Yeah. All-nighter hider. Don't short the like button. True story. I like what CoffeeZilla says, pump and dump. Hit the like button. So yeah, he's good. Johnny Cashflow Ramirez, sup real estate freaks. What's up, Johnny? Good to see you, pal. Rich Boudreaux, hey, good morning, Rich. All-nighter hider, do you have a monthly percentage you set aside to reinvest in your biz? Has that percentage changed as you have grown? Yes. In the beginning, it was everything. Every single dime that we made, every single thing that we did, every dollar went back into the business because I had a W-2. So it could. That's why I kept the W-2. I didn't have to pay for healthcare. I didn't have to pay for a bunch of other things, right? So everything I did was specifically to build the business. And that's why I moved 9 times in 13 years and constantly house hacked. That's why I did all that stuff, specifically that reason, because that income snowball for me, that was a much steeper hill. I mean, that thing rolled fast. But yeah, constantly all the money back in, all the money back in, all the money back in. Now, currently, our burn is probably I'm probably spending about $6,000 a week right now. 6,000 a week because we're redoing a bunch of units. So we'll keep on. So we're still in plenty good shape, plenty of return on our capital, but we're probably burning about $6,000 a week right now. And some weeks are big. Last week was 27, 26, around there. 1,000 is what we burned last week doing other projects. Yeah. So yes, all-nighter hider, absolutely, that number changes. So now we spend a much smaller percentage unless we did what we did last year, which is we bought a ton of really good deals, like great deals last year. And now we're just kind of going unit by unit as people move on, redoing them and then significantly increasing the rent. We've had units that have gone from $850 to $1,450. We've had some units that have gone from 2,200 to 3,000. We have other units. I'm trying to think what the biggest increase was. We had one go from 1,600 to 3,200. We had one go from 1,300 to 25. We've had a lot of those big, massive jumps from people that have been there for years. And they were just finally ready to move on. Some stuff we own, some stuff it was an inherited tenant. Jernil Diaz. Good morning, Jernil. What strategies do you recommend for maximizing deals in this changing market? I think I still think part of the strategy is my reverse offer strategy, talking to them, finding out what the three things are that move them. It might be a seller finance opportunity. But yeah, I think there certainly are markets that are slowing. No matter what Reventure says, there's nothing that's gone down 30%. Like that's just a completely moronic statement. Nothing has gone down 30% in actual sales prices. He's full of it. He's wrong. And if he wants, I'll bet him 10 grand. I'll bet him $10,000 that we can jump on here and we can debate about this. And I guarantee I have a lot more graphs than he does that I look at that actually show that what he's saying isn't true. And again, one small market that might be 3 hours outside of Topeka, Kansas, does that really count? No, because that's not, what's their population? 3,000? Do they have a chemical spill there? And I'm not trying to pick on something else 3 hours outside of Topeka, Kansas. But yeah, I think the opportunity now is still really understanding what your seller's trying to do. I think that's always a good strategy. And I think, again, buying great deals with 30-year fixed debt and even 40-year fixed debt, I think buying great deals like that, so long as it's fixed debt, so long as it's a great deal and it's returning 2 or 3 or 4% more than market average. And if it's 40-year, it better be even more. I just don't, those are the deals that I would still do. All of my last 8 deals, my last 8 deals will all over 20% return on capital. And the last dozen that I've looked at weren't. So I didn't do them because I still think I can get that good of a deal. I'm learning law now. Counteroffers claims are super key. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Yeah. I mean, counteroffers and how you position the counteroffer and how you say, we'd like to notify you that the presence of asbestos was found, the presence of this, or that there's a hole in the roof, based on testing, blah, blah, blah. Right. And so you're notifying them this exists. Then technically that agent then has to just close it moving forward. But yeah, just structuring the deal, but yeah, and always counter. There's nothing wrong with counter. Dion Talk Financial Freedom, my good buddy. He texts me and he's like, hey, where are you? So he was the one who actually told me that it had been canceled on YouTube. So thanks, buddy. I appreciate you. Vassal, how do you react when you see a property that is asking lower than market rent and same when priced higher than market rent? Do you change your rents? Vassal, can you give me more detail about that? So that is asking lower rent than market and same when priced higher than market rent. Give me more words around that because I'm missing something there. I know it and I want to answer your question because I think it's a great question. Julie Anderson, do you follow up with the texts to your tenant with an email? Text won't hold up in court in Washington State. Yeah, so the text doesn't need to hold up in court for me. What I'm doing is I'm just trying to get their agreement. If they say yes, I say, sounds great. I'm emailing you an updated lease now. So, and that's it. And if they haven't signed within 48 hours, I just text them back and say, hey, just let me know if something's changed. If it has, I'm just going to start, I'll post the ad today and start showing it. A lot of times they sign it within a day or two of getting it. And then the times that they don't, they write back and they say, oh, I'm so sorry I missed it, or let me go find it and I'll do it. So I'm not looking, Julie, for anything there, for anything from a text message to stand up in court. I'm still getting them a new lease. That's just the means of communication to get them to that new lease. And if they don't execute timely, excuse me, if they don't execute timely, like within 48 hours, I give them a reminder. If it's another 24 hours and they haven't done anything, my next text to them is, hey guys, no worries. Glad, hope you find a great place. We're going to start doing showings on Saturday. So that's usually a Monday through Thursday or Monday through Wednesday exercise. If I let them know in that next text on Wednesday, we're going to be doing showings on Saturday, I've gotten it signed right then and there. Or they've said, yeah, something changed for us and we're going to do it. That happened a couple of times, but we still had it on Wednesday. So we have pre-written ads. We have all of our library of pictures. So we can actually post the things within 30 minutes. And then it's game on and we just start setting stuff up to be doing something on Saturday. That's usually what we do. So yeah, nothing there needs to stand up in court, thankfully. Andrew P. Morning, Matt. Morning, Andrew. It was good seeing you yesterday on the Zoom, man. It's good seeing you. BD rentals and investment properties. Perhaps you could speak further on how to organize your rehabs. Maybe a good subject for another day. Thanks for your responses, sir. Yeah, I can do that. I can take you guys through that because there is a natural cadence to things and how they're supposed to move through the process. So yeah, happy to do that. Happy to do that. That's probably actually that's going to be part of my course because I think that a lot of people. I haven't copywritten it anything, but I've got a name in mind, and I think Dion and Mike do a phenomenal job on the front end. The only thing that I can add to that stuff is the 4-3-2-1 strategy is really the only thing front end that I can add. All of the other main stuff comes down to touching, feeling product myself and design stuff and, ways to set up things that make it more landlord friendly moving forward, which help keep your costs down. So I have major cost controls in areas that Dion doesn't have a whole lot going on with, like repairs and things like that. Like he says, a few hours a month tops is what he does, but Mike does. And so I control a massive part of my piece on that because I control the input cost from a product perspective and a labor perspective. So that helps me quite a bit. Joseph Heffley. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Joseph. Rob, are the crypto investors calling you to sell their Lambo yet? Doquan, I'm here. I can buy your Lambo. I'm ready. MicroStrategy CEO, I am ready to buy whatever cars you have as well. They took out loans, margin loans to buy crypto. I think that they start losing money. I want to say at like 21 or 22,000. And even now they have a bunch of coins that are underwater. So again, not trying to giggle at somebody else's loss, but people go pretty hard at me about crypto. And the funny thing is, I don't really even care. Crypto, I think it's a good investment, largely speaking. The stable coins certainly, or even, ones that really are storied like Ether and Bitcoin and Solana and those. I think the challenge that there is that they still don't understand the math. The math is your stuff goes up and down and you have to be a trader to really make money. And for me on my houses, I get a check every single month that reminds me exactly how awesome owning rental real estate is. So that's the way I kind of look at it. So again, crypto, not a bad thing, but it would kind of be funny buying some crypto millionaires Lambo. Keith Hager, I'd probably have him sign the car too. Keith Hager, carrying cost can kill you if you don't turn and burn on the repairs and get it rent ready. Yeah, sure. There's certain things that we have to do when tenants aren't there. There's also certain things that we can do with a tenant being there. So we'll actually even make it part of the lease and say, hey, we'll do these things for you. Make it part of the lease and we'll do them within 60 days. And then it's just something that we then work towards and get them done within 60 days. So that way the tenant feels good. And we can even put something in there that bites too, like a $200 fine or $200, fee or something like that, or reduction in rent if it's not done. We've done some of that stuff. When it was something that we knew we had coming, but couldn't do it in the time that we needed to get them in there. We're just like, yeah, you can move in, but it's going to take us time to get to that. All-nighter header, dry powder is essential for any investing. Got to be ready for an opportunity. I spent a year creating dry powder. Yep. Yep. And in fact, Dion had a great point in one of the videos that he did, talking about going home and having more money in his bank account. So we have a $6,000 a week burn right now, and we're not even close to keeping up with the income. I won't share specifics, but just know that, yeah, I mean, we're burning that much, but we're redoing units. And then when we're getting units back online, they're going from $850, $900, or $1,000 a month up to 15, 16, 1700 a month. So the numbers are getting like, and then it accelerates. The snowball moves even faster, and then it's more money. We've put on in the last 4 weeks. In the last 4 weeks, we've put on, man, 7 units with about $4,000 a month more income. Yeah, it's a good time to be a landlord, but we're ready. But we're creating dry powder as much as we can, because we know that the change, that we see the market shifting. We're not dumb. We ain't dumb. That's what I used to say. Rich Boudreaux, do you have an average turnover rate with your tenants moving in or moving out? It really is unit dependent. And it usually is also dependent on what we're raising rent to. So I don't pay too close attention to the actual turnover rate. But I would say the average tenancy of one of my selected tenants, I'd say average tenancy is probably 3 years, maybe 4, between 3 and 4. We have some that stay 5 and 6, and we have some that are gone. We usually don't have any people that are gone after only 1 year. We almost always get a second year, like probably 95% of the time we get a second year. But we do a lot of mid-20s. So people finally getting their stake and claim, and they're finally making good money, and they don't want to live with roommates anymore. They're just kind of tired of living with roommates. So that's usually where we see our folks move on, is when they're going from. So we've seen actual examples where we've taken 5 people in a bedroom. We've gotten them to stay, but basically 2 out of the 5 stayed. The other 3 left. 2 of them went into a 2-bedroom. 1 of them went into a studio or a 1-bedroom themselves. So we got 3 units rented from that one group of people. People want to stick with us because we're good landlords. But yeah, so we do absolutely 100% see that. Keith Hager, how do you a priority list from first to last on repairs? I always set up schedule to complete, but that always changes with contract availability. Yeah, for sure. Hold on, I'm just gonna scroll down. So it really differs. The reason it really differs is because, like you said, contractor availability, but I'm always doing life and safety first. So life and safety stuff we always do first. So if there's like a bad electrical outlet, or leaking roof or leaking faucet, things that can get out of hand and get expensive fast, I always do those first. Other stuff that's like kind of like lipstick stuff, we can always get that in, but a lot of times lipstick stuff is like painting or replacing a piece of board. We're going to have plenty of time in the wintertime to do that. And so it's just something where we say, okay, that's, when somebody files that in our property management system that we just moved to in the last couple of months, we just let them know we've got it on your list. When we go to do 2 or 3 things there, we'll certainly bang those out at the same time. So they are on the list, but that's not something that we have time to do right this moment, because I can't staff to be able to respond to any request in 24 hours, even when it's like, there's a broken shade or something like that. Okay, go buy a shade. Send me the receipt. What did I do here? Yeah. S Hall in 42, I'm seeing 10+% cuts all over East Texas, still way overpriced. Yeah, so still way overpriced doesn't give me anything to really grab a hold of other than emotion that you believe it's still really overpriced. However, what I can tell you is that if you look at the stuff that's there that is selling, compare it to last year, and you'll still see an uptick in values. And that might be 5% or 10% or 15%. But they were coming down, reducing it 10% in price because they were asking, some outrageous wishful number that wasn't based on anything. Sellers rarely base a number on something factual and actual, which is kind of silly to me because it's going to have to get passed by the appraiser. And plenty of appraisals have come up short in the purchase of properties especially in the last 3 months, for sure. BD rentals and investment properties. Do you suggest interest only? Nope. Interest only loans for a period of the loan, say 10 years of nope. Nope. I want 30-year fixed rate debt every time. Every time I want 30-year fixed rate debt. Yep. I don't like the only loans that I have to take like that are true commercial loans. And it's because no one has a product other than non-QM and they're charging me an extra point or point and a half. And when I've got as much business with this bank as I do, they have more flexibility to work with me based on the size of my portfolio. So they'll usually work with me on do something for me. Jernil Diaz, yes, I believe that reventure is flat out lying to fit the false narrative that he's been spinning. Yeah, like the fact that guy says that parts of the market are down 30%, show me, liar, show me. 30% off of Zestimates, okay, well, that's a fake number. 30% off Redfin, fake number. Show me, compared to last year, stuff that's sold and the stuff that's selling this year at a 30% discount. You're full of it, liar, not true. So I'm a lumberjack. It is what it is. I'm just not nice when people I think are just spinning lies to get people to attend. Chris Miller, Matt, would you suggest going through an attorney for my first eviction, inherited tenant? Yep, I would. 100%. Yeah, I would not do your first one on your own, my man. It's going to cost you, but I wouldn't do my first one on my own. I'd be going through the process, asking the attorney questions, learning everything you can from the process in your state, because it's very state specific. But I would be going through that process, asking lots of questions, asking if there's a fixed fee for an eviction, because there really should be, even if it's, I don't know what your rules are in your state, but here they can contest, which means that they get to show up, but then what's the argument going to be? I can't afford it. Judge is going to go, then you're still out. That's it, period of the story. S Holland 42, interest only. The banks love that. They do. Banks really don't want to take back your assets, believe it or not. They really don't. They're not built for it. That's why 08, 9, and 10 went so horribly, and 11 went so horribly. They are not equipped to do that. They don't want the asset back. That's why they'll discount it to sell it. So they really don't want your asset back. But yeah, moving rates, yeah, for sure. But what they're borrowing at moves too. So BMU 7979. That's a lot of info there, BMU. Rehab checklist. Yeah, I've got one. I'm going to do it. Also like a move-in checklist too. If you can read this, give me a shout out. I can read this. I read every one, my man. I don't fit in a Lambo. Your issue, not mine. I'll buy a big truck. I already got one of those. The 150K trucks for 80K. I hope so. I have a good friend of mine. His brother's a repo guy. He's off the chain busy. The problem is they're not really any amazing cars. They're all they're nice cars. They're like 30K and less cars. No Lambos yet, or high end, super high end stuff. Like I had a Porsche. I love my Porsche. That was a great car. It was a lot of fun. I shouldn't have sold it. Talked to my wife about that. I was like, that was stupid. I should just put it in the garage. Last 10 years, I paid off my property. Good. Yeah. That's not a horrible use of capital. If you're not a business person and not investing in real estate. If you're investing in real estate, that was a mistake. But whatever keeps you sleeping at night. That's the big goal. If you have a stupid interest rate or hard money. Stupid meaning low, because low, I think that becomes an asset. High, there's been no high interest rates in the last 2 years. except for in the last 90 days. And then hard money. Yeah, hard money is hard money. But that's what scares me more for flippers now and those guys now is that they've got hard money. They're going to have trouble in some of those getting exits potentially, or they're going to see their margin narrowed. That's why you keep the deposit. So I do keep the deposit sometimes, but good luck collecting money after they've left and they've exhausted their deposit. So all-nighter hire. Sailor would be selling his reputation if he were to, sell any Bitcoin. That's right. Not going to happen. Yep. God bless me. Sorry. But I did get to it in time. Not going to happen. He will resort to financial engineering beforehand. Yeah, totally agree with you. I think Sailor's nuts. I mean, let's face it. If you're buying MicroStrategy, right, you're buying Bitcoin, largely speaking. Julius Davis. Hey, Julius, welcome to the channel. And BMU 7979, welcome to the channel. And S Holland 42. I apologize. Welcome all you guys to the channel. Happy to have you guys here hanging out with me. Julius Davis, listening to the three amigos speak about how great the market is going to be here soon. What advice or words of wisdom do you have for those of us not ready just yet, but will be in a year or two? Here's the advice that I would have. Three really important things. Your network is your net worth. You need to be making sure that you're creating relationships now. Start creating relationships yesterday, literally yesterday. Those are relationships that as soon as you're ready, keep on checking in with them, keep on fostering relationships, learning, understanding. You know what? You have the perfect opportunity because you know that you're at least a year out. Guess what? You have a year to become extremely knowledgeable. That's my number one tip for people is take the time that you have, don't waste it, consume everything that you can. I mean, just between Mike, Dion, and myself, you've got 6 hours of live streaming a week. You've got 20 something hours of content, just the three of us. There is a ton to learn there. Do it. Your network is your net worth, number one. Number two is really understand what Mike talks about with your buy box. Really, truly understand what the buy side looks like in your market so you can really figure a good deal. And number three, and just as important as the buy box, is the rent box. The rent box is something that I've been talking about for the longest time because everybody gets really focused on what they're buying it for and what they think rents might be. Know what rents are. Know them cold. This street gets a $200 premium over this street, or this part of the city, a $200 premium over this part of the city. You got to know that stuff and know that stuff cold. So I would be charting rents just like you're charting buying property. Because I know all the rents in my cities. I know exactly how much they are, what they are, where they are. I know all that stuff. I look at Facebook Marketplace. I look at Craigslist. I look at Zillow. I look at apartments.com. I look at all of these places. I'm constantly looking at the stuff that's getting put on the market constantly. So while others might only be focused on just a buy box, which is good, it's way better than doing nothing. I would also be focusing on a rent box because you might find that there's opportunity where people think that something's only worth X, Y, or Z in this specific part of the market. And then you start seeing, wow, rents are really trending up in that area. Interesting. I've caught that. There's an area in one of the cities that I buy in. It's called The Hill. Rents there are up outrageous, like almost double, because it's the exclusive place to live because it's right downtown, but it's in a hill. So it has a beautiful view of the rest of the city. No joke. So we have rents there that are up a ton. Like I bought a duplex there for, what did I buy it for? 115 grand. And then I spent 60 redoing it. So it was 175 into it. It just reappraised for 332. And so I took a stack of cash out, like $40,000, $50,000, somewhere around there, 40. Yeah, took out like 40,000 bucks. But I still make over $1,000 a month on that property. That's what I would be doing. Know that stuff cold. Julius. Know it cold. You know that stuff cold. When you get into this game, you're going to make fewer mistakes. You're going to get to elite a whole lot faster once you start the practice of actually doing it. So well done. I love to see the timeline that you have of having a year. Use it to your advantage because it is an advantage. All-nighter hider. People want to stick with us because we're good landlords. Matt, wise words, my man. Yeah, I think so. We have a lot of renewals because we're good landlords. We just are. We take care of stuff. We don't lie to them. We tell them exactly the way it is. We have some people that are snowflakes and they just are belligerent. And then I'm just like, 60 days beforehand, I just let them know. Just want to make sure you guys are aware we're not renewing your lease. And so we wish you guys all the best. Please make sure that these items are done before you move out so we can return as much of your deposit as possible. And please send us a forwarding address. Pretty easy stuff. Yeah. Kane Koo. Hey, Kane. Nice to meet you. Thanks for coming. And I agree. Yo. All-nighter hider. Banks don't want assets on their balance sheet. Nope, they don't. They really don't. And worse yet, all-nighter hider, with some of the downturn, right? That they had to keep some of those things not only in the balance sheet, but they had to pay for them. They had to pay for maintaining them, freeze ups, winterizations in my area, thousands and thousands of dollars, the taxes too, all that stuff. They don't want your asset. They really just want you paying your bill because they've already built it in. Keith Hager, do you keep separate account for rental deposits? Yep. In our state, you cannot commingle rent receipts and deposits. So I think the rule is 10 units. You have to separate them. And so, yeah, we separate them. We have an account that is only for security deposits. Yes. Kane Koo, how bad will this correction be? Dion, send me the crystal ball, bro. Don't have a crystal ball, but I've been calling it for about a year. Not that it would happen yet. I'm calling in 2023. I think it's 10, 15, 20%. I think that we start to see some corrections in 2023. I think we start seeing some of those corrections, real corrections, not fake ones, not it's down 30% from its price point. So the idiot priced it wrong. I'm talking real numbers. And the 20%, it's going to take some time. It's going to be if there's World War III, how deep the recession goes, how bad inflation gets. I just think that there's going to be a correction next year. And I think it's going to be, like I said, 10, 15, 20. So 10 to 20 is where I think you can put me. And with rates being what they are, that's still not a deal. It's actually a worse deal than it was. 2020 was the second greatest buying market of all time. And 2021 was, I think, number 7. So for all these pinheads out there calling crash, 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 listen, whatever, you're wrong. You were wrong. You were wrong. Please send apologies to lumberjacklandlord@gmail.com. That's just for fun. Dion Talk, hoping to meet you at the PA meetup. Dion, that wasn't a private message. Yeah, the PA meetup. I love that group. Kevin Mole invited me to that group. Good guy, really smart. Love the stuff that he does. Also like the fact that he used to race motorcycles. That was my hope. And then I got a bad ankle injury, and being the size I am, that made it not a thing. Because I like the vintage stuff. Hence the t-shirt. Rich Boudreaux, cool. Start my rent today. Box today. Yeah. Start the rent box today. I'm telling you, too many people are only focused on the buy side. You got to know rents and you got to be tracking those because you'll see movements in cities. That's one of the advantages that I've had against my competitors. They're like, no, that price is too crazy. Dude, on that street in that neighborhood, it's not. One guy, I'm going to tell the story. One guy tried to make an example of me and said I was an idiot. He said, you way overpay for that house and you continue to overpay for houses. And then it doesn't make sense. And then so none of us get it. I said, listen, I'm not overpaying for anything. You don't know what you're talking about. Your math is off. And he's like, literally. And then I said, okay, walk me through it. Walk me through what you know that I don't and why I'm overpaying. So he walked me through it. He was wrong. He was wrong. He was counting the units being worth $2,200 a side, and I get 3,000 a side. So based on his math, the property was only worth X. I don't disagree. It was only worth X with his math. His math was wrong. And no, I did not take the opportunity to correct his number. Why would I help him? He was a jerk, and he's in my market. So I'll let him keep on polishing his silver medal. Yeah. I actually bought a thing of silver polish. If I see him in another property, I'm going to give it to him. Listen, it does when you're in a smaller area like us is, my 3 towns combined are like 50,000 people, 50,000 population. My 3 areas combined are 50,000. You start running into the same exact guys, and it, to a certain degree, they're playing Monopoly. And for me, I've just been slow and steady, but we got to 117 units because we were slow and steady. It took 20 years to get there, and we did a ton last year. Yeah, you got to have fun with some of this stuff. Yeah, got to have fun with some of this stuff for sure. All-nighter hider. Great question, Julius. Yeah, I totally agree. Nailed it. Yep. That nailed it. Totally awesome. Yep. Still tons to be done, guys, right now. The thing that's nice about being by myself on Sundays is that I know Dion and Mike are way more mature than I am. I just have too much fun with some of this stuff. And there's a bunch of things, admittedly, that I shouldn't do, but I do them. It's entertaining. I can't help it. Let's see. Juniel Diaz, after being in the Zoom meeting yesterday, do you have any categories that you've customized for your buy box? So I was only there for the first half, and that's when my power supply blew up, literally. I don't have a spreadsheet that I keep anymore. It's all in my head. My market's not that big. Like right now, there's 2 things in the market. Even in a regular market, there might be 20 things or 30 things, but I can keep all those numbers in my head. I've got a thing with numbers. So we're friends. So yeah, so I keep it all in my head. And you'll see too, when you're in a market for 10 years, I would say even like Dion's pretty spread out, but he knows the good numbers. But after you've been doing this for 10 years, you're probably not going to be doing your own spreadsheet. You're probably going to be able to kind of track it, generally speaking, in your mind, kind of, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because again, you're looking at the numbers of what a great deal is. And it depends on what kind of market you're looking at. For sure. Julius Davis, thanks, all-nighter. Yeah, I love it. We're a community here. We're here to help each other out, spur each other on, and call it when we call it, right? You can always call me on something. I don't care. If I'm wrong on something, I love the other opinion. Thomas Daniels, hello from British Columbia. Oh, BC. Yeah. That was the home of 2 of my most favorite hockey players. Cam Neely. Yep. And Milan Lucic. Yep. British Columbia. Beautiful. Been there. Vancouver. And been to Whistler. Not to ski, for a speaking event. Yeah, beautiful. Love that. I love Canada. Yeah, I love Canada. I love the US more, but I love Canada. We're brothers. How do I tell a friend who is a part-time realtor that I need to find someone who is more proactive and more up-to-date in the market? Ooh, I'm happy to answer that question, but I'm probably the wrong one to answer that question. I'm not good at that stuff. What I would recommend to you is, I put myself in the other person's shoes. And so if I were having that conversation with myself, I would just say, is there anything that you can do that speeds up the time by which I'm getting notifications or things turned around. I would go from that perspective. Is there anything that you can do? Because then it's not they're your friend. You don't want to just ditch them, but you do need what you need. And so that's how I would couch it. And then if you say, listen, if you can deliver these few things, then I got no concerns. If you can't, I've got concerns. But I'll let you do the referral. I don't know what it's like in British Columbia, but I can tell you in the States, if you give a referral, they get 25% of the commission of that side of the deal. So that might be worth it. That might be free money to them. But yeah, you got to have that conversation because I had a good friend of mine that I liked. We were good friends, and he would only ever show me something that I sent him first. No. So I told this young up and coming agent who had worked for me, not as an agent, but had worked with me in the past. I said, this is what I need. This is what I expect. If you can do that, I will start giving you some business. So we had that conversation. He started finding me deals. And I think to date, we've closed, I don't know, 6 or 7 million, 8 million bucks worth of deals, maybe. It's paid off for him, paid off for me. He's great. He negotiates the way I want to. We strategize on calls when we're trying to get a deal done. So yeah, I really like it. But that's what I would do. I think it's a tough conversation to have. So Thomas, I appreciate you asking me and trusting with that. Because I think it's a tough conversation to have. But I think that you need to lay out exactly what it is you're looking for and see if they can do that. And then if they can't, then it's much easier to understand why you're parting ways. It's not personal and it doesn't become a thing. That's what I would do. Hopefully that's helpful to you. Let me know if it wasn't. Adrian Jeffrey. Hey, Adrian. Can't wait to be able to find real estate opportunities. Yeah, ain't that the truth? I mean, I'm spoiled last year, like I said, even into this year, like the first couple months of this year, because we wrote paper on them last year or just in the beginning of this year before rates went nuts. We thought we were going to have a bigger year this year than we did last year. No way. There's no way we can. No way. Not unless the correction comes a lot sooner. There's no way. Because we did so many deals last year. We refinanced. Last year, we refinanced 9 or 10. We sold 2 or 3. 2? Yeah, we sold 2 and bought 10 last year. We're not going to do that this year. Actually, we did 9 refis. We're not going to, we might sell one thing this year because it's really a good Airbnb type of property. We might sell one of them this year. And then I think what have we bought? 1, 2, 3, 4. We bought 5. So we got to average one a month for the rest of the year. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. Probably not. It might, but they're only going to be 20-point plus deals or something strategic to the portfolio. That's all. So what I mean is that a property that should rent for $1,500, okay, but it's listed for $1,250, okay. Same for the higher side. The rent for a property is at $1,750 instead of $1,500. So that's what's called pro forma. If they're getting it, it's not pro forma. If they believe that they can get it because that's what they're saying market is, nope. I don't buy deals based on what you think I can rent them for. I'm a landlord. I know my market. I know what stuff should rent for because I have a rent box. So I know, and because I have 117 rentals within 8 or 9 miles of each other. So for me, it's all about the rent side. The buy side's nice, right? But it's all about what is my payment and what can this cash flow for me? That's what it comes down to. I just heard a slam. I'm waiting for a cry. Nope, somebody just got over enthusiastic. So you have to know what that number is because your bank might look at it when you're smaller, when you're doing your first 10 deals, the bank will look at those and they'll give you 85% of the number. So if it's not rented for that, they don't count it. If it is rented for that, they're still only going to give you 80 or 85%. So that's what I would be looking at. That's what I'd be looking at. For me, In that $3,000 example where that guy said it was 2,200, I wasn't going to tell him that it was $3,000. I don't need to prove to him that I was right. I need him to go in there under the assumption that I'm overpaying. If he saw my rent roll, he'd know exactly how much I'm not underpaying. You know, these guys just, some of these investors that call themselves investors just don't get it. They don't know what they're talking about. And that's why they keep on losing. Or when they finally get something, it is so small on margin that it doesn't work and they end up having to resell it. Do you guys see all these birds outside my window? You probably don't. Hi. I've got like a bunch of birds out my window. Now you guys can't see it. I can't turn the camera too, because I'm, with my luck, after burning through a power supply, I'll probably do the same thing. And break something. Yoga mat. The majority are pretty dumbed down as a result of believing TV. Yes. Yes. Yep. 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 Probably. So I have been known to be rude. And yeah, I've got, I don't know, I get pretty sarcastic pretty fast. My wife got me a shirt. I'm not like this with her because that would mean we'd get divorced. But my wife got me a shirt that says sarcasm is the way I hug. That kind of speaks to me. You know, yeah, I've said horrible things to people like, yeah, we probably shouldn't cover most of that. One that still strikes me as funny was, well, I say often water finding its level when somebody does something stupid, because I do stupid stuff. I say, oh yeah, water found its level. But the other thing that is too, that we talk about sometimes, just because it's a laugh. I said to that same person about the 2,200 thing, I said to them something to the effect of, what was it? Something like, you being as good at doing what you're doing helps me make me look amazing at what I'm doing, or something like that. It's pretty. That guy just gets on my nerves. He's such a jerk. Yeah. And the funny thing was, is in the beginning, I was like that idiot who'd shared everything and helped everyone. I'll do that here because I want to help people, but in the market that I'm in, I'm not making it easier for them to crush me. Not doing it. Not doing it. Yeah. Like I said, I'm kind of an infant. Don't do as I say, not as I do. But when you see the same guys over and over again, like, I just can't help it. All-nighter hider. I love this community here. It's going to be great to announce the acquisition of my first income property. All-nighter hider. I can't wait, man. I can't wait. I'm so pumped for you. I can't wait because I know it changes lives when you get the right one. Keith Hager, when you find a pig with lipstick, is it still a pig or an opportunity? Pricing. So pricing is where that comes down to. It can be both. It can be a huge opportunity, and it can still just be a pig. There was one that we just walked away from. 389. Very small units, two of them. It needed like $100,000 worth of work. Easy. That was still just a pig. At 389, that was a pig. At 325, I buy the thing all day long, but not at 389. So it depends on the price, Keith. Depends on the price of your pig. All-nighter hider. Matt, have you checked out Market Mania Canada? Luke has a great channel on macro of housing markets. I have not, but I definitely will check it out. And thanks for sending me that other name that you sent me to. I want to look at that one too. I haven't had a chance to, but I will for sure. Johnny Cashflow Ramirez. I'm starting to meet new realtors that are actually bringing me up properties compared to me always bringing the deals. Exactly. That's the biggest part, my man. Build your network. Make sure that people know what you're buying. I have a video coming out this week that will help that. It's been a little bit delayed because real job work has been nuts, and Eliana is doing radiation 5 days a week. And so that ends not this week, but the following week. And then I should have a couple really awesome videos that I can get out for you guys. Ninja Vanish 24/7. If I am allowed to ask an off-topic question, yeah, who makes the best barbecue out of the three amigos? I would be willing to bet you Mike does not, because I know it. He talks often about his eat out budget, so he eats out a lot. I don't think he would. And as nice as much as I love a lot of different Californians, like really good friends of mine, Mike included, do they know anything about barbecue? Ooh, I don't know. Maybe. Dion, maybe Dion, maybe Dion, maybe Dion. For me, maybe. I don't know. I like shredded barbecue chicken. That's what I really like. Really soft, really juicy. And yeah, I like shredded barbecue chicken. We make shredded barbecue chicken tacos probably once a week. They're fantastic for what it's worth. Rich Boudreaux, if you get a locked rate on a refi and rates drop, do banks adjust a lower new rate? Nope, it's locked. It's locked until you refi it. Yep. Rich Boudreaux, you're right. All investors are not equal. Yeah, it's true. I mean, but that's the thing is like who really is, right? There are things that I'm elite at, and there's other things that I'm not good at all. I have still never done a sub duty. That's going to be one of the most important skills in the next couple of years. I've done one seller financing deal. And it was only part of the purchase price. And quite frankly, it's been a huge colossal pain in my butt. So those things I am not. Airbnb, I'm not elite at Airbnb. Not there on mobile parks yet, but I think I'm learning. So yeah, I totally agree with you. I think there's different, and I think that you want to find guys that are really elite at what they do. Johnny Cash Ramirez, my buy box is so small, I can get to the no quickly. Yep. And I monitor the maybes. Yep. Thanks for all the knowledge, dude. Johnny Cashflow, you're welcome, man. That's exactly right. That's why you have a box, right? That's why you monitor it, manage it. That's why you do that. That's why you do that for sure. Janelle, surprisingly, I have never heard about the rent box till now. Oh, how do you confirm that a home was actually rented at list price though? Do you just track when the listing is removed? Yeah, because I don't know that the number of rents that don't happen at the number that they're at. The other thing that you can do too is that you can actually call up, if it was an agent, you can call up and say, hey, just wanted to check. I believe the unit was rented. They'll say, yes, it was. Say, okay, what did it rent for? And did that include anything? They'll a lot of times share that data with you for sure. For sure, they'll show that. But yeah, rent box, huge thing. I can't believe, I've talked to it. I just haven't called it a rent box before. So I've talked about it a lot, but yeah, the rent box is really, really important because like I said, there's been a lot of parts in my cities where rent is below market average. In fact, ask Dion. I'd have to say you're probably the best at barbecue. Shredded black marinated tri-tip. Dear God, Dion. Dion, what's that street in Washington? I think it's is it Seattle or Tacoma that you talk about where it's like deals are always on that street? He always talks about this one. I thought it began with a W or an M. Thank you for calling the psychic hotline. It was W or M, but Dion knows what I'm talking about. And it's like, he looks at the numbers and all the deals on that street, if you applied the same rent that you get in other places in the city to that, they look like awesome deals. But he said he's an ex-cop and he wouldn't go there. So yeah, for what it's worth. So I would just track based on when the listing's removed. And I think what you'll find is a lot of them, like our rentals are on the market for less than 5 or 6 days. They're on the market almost none at all. RE3, hey gentlemen, happy Memorial Day. RE3, you as well. You as well. For those of you, it's a perfect opportunity. For those of you who have served, I really appreciate you. I've got a lot of friends that served, Iraq, Afghanistan, and other parts of the world. So it's hard. You're away from your families a lot. And so I appreciate you guys. And yeah, I've got a lot of good friends that have served us and been through some really tough times. And, you know, I appreciate them and their sacrifice and what they've done. And for those fallen heroes who haven't made it home, you know, appreciate them and their families for sure. So, sorry. Yeah. So I appreciate anybody that served. I really appreciate you. Always here and happy to help and answer your questions. Sam Farrow. Hey, Matt. Hey, Sam. At what point do you check property zoning and how do you do it? So it's different everywhere, Sam. For me, I always look at the listing sheet and I know the 5 or 6 zones that I want to be in. And so with any city, they will have a full report on everything on all their different zoning. Believe it or not, that's usually only 1 page and it just shares a brief description. But find that document for the cities that you're investing in. Once you find that document, learn the 5 or 6 really valuable zoning definitions that really fit that. And that way, when something comes up in, you know, one of mine, which is like an RM2, I'm like, RM2, I want that. Like, even if I have to overpay for the property, because it's a duplex to fourplex rating or allowed in what sometimes can be a single family neighborhood. And so obviously those are worth their weight in gold, right? So yeah. Yep. That's what I would. So that's what I would do. So I would look up whatever city that you're in, look up their zoning codes, and then learn and understand what those are. And that's the nice thing about having a buy box is that you're only going to be in a zip code or 2, and they'll likely have the same thing. Thomas Daniels, thanks, Matt. Going to have that uncomfortable discussion. Yeah, sorry for that. I just, that's going to cost you a deal. It just is. So if he can do the things, if they can do the 3 things that you can tab, this is what I need from you. And then he says, I just can't do that. Then at that point, he's making the decision, not you. And that's the best thing to do. That's the best place to get to, I think. Dion Talk, I would have said you probably the best barbecue. Yeah, probably. Shredded, black, marinated tri-tip, whatever, Dion. Marinated tri-tip is steak. Like barbecue chicken. Like that's what I think when I think barbecue. I think steak. All-nighter hider, walking into church. Thanks and love. Appreciate you, man. Keith Hager, a bunch of new people would like to know about calling Section 8 in their market to find out what they pay for 1, 2, 3, or 4 bedroom houses. Yep. 2 tours Vietnam. And so Keith, thank you. I appreciate you. You guys were awesome because you came home to things you didn't deserve. So yeah, I appreciate you that much more. I'm grateful that as a country, as people, we treat our soldiers better. Because I think that was one of our greatest embarrassments of all, was how we treated guys that served in Vietnam. So I appreciate you. RE3. Thanks for the service member shout out. Yeah, absolutely. I have 1 year left and just put my separation paperwork. Congratulations, RE3. I appreciate you. I'm just a little indie. No such thing. No such thing. People that sign up to serve, they sign up to serve not knowing how they're going to have to serve. So I appreciate you. RE3, the real heroes are the ones deployed to the front. It's a true story. I had a story about that this week. It kind of bothered me a little bit. Somebody was acting callous about someone thanking them for their service, and that bothered me. And I said so because they're an acquaintance of mine. And I said, the person that's thanking you for that doesn't know to what capacity you've served. And so it is far better to err on the side that you have been in it than that you have not been in it. And to me, that we had a conversation about that did not go well. So we're probably not going to have a conversation for a while. That really bothered me, but I appreciate you guys. Rich Boudreaux, I think Dion barbecues on his hot plate. We have to cook a lot because we have 3 kids. When we didn't have kids, we ate out a lot. So I totally get where Dion and Mike are coming from. We ate out a lot when we didn't have kids. Now that we have kids, we cook at home all the time. And so my wife has kind of her stable 10 recipes and they're killer. And when Dion comes to visit, I'll make you some shredded barbecue chicken and you'll like it. Although he's a better shot than me. So I won't be too insistent that he has to like it. But yeah, it's good. Drew A. Hey, Drew, have you ever thought about buying in another state? How would you go about it? So yeah, I have. So I'm actually really close. I'm really close to Maine, and Mass, but Maine especially. I wouldn't consider Mass. The only way that I would consider Maine is if I bought an entire portfolio, because there's tax ramifications, there's management ramifications, there's tenant rule, rule of law, different attorney. It's so the only reason I would not dip my toe into that market at all across the border. You said distance or state. Sorry, my bad. Another state. Okay, I'm good. I was heading on the wrong track. I thought for a second there, I was like, wait, did he say market or state? So yeah, I would do state. For me, being as big and established as I am, it makes no sense for me to do other states. I had an opportunity to buy a bunch of stuff in Detroit. I passed. Yeah, I passed. You could literally buy streets, like all of the houses on the street minus a couple that were still people in them. You could buy them from land banks for between $5,000 and $10,000. You could put 40, 50 grand into them and sell them for 100. The problem for me was I didn't feel confident at all based on how much else I had going on, that A, I could do a great job, and B, that somebody wouldn't be robbing me blind. If I could take my crew and send them out there, the problem is like I couldn't do that because I didn't want to take them away from their families. And I didn't want them to then think that they should leave because I took them away from their families. So how would I do it? I would only buy a portfolio for me. Other than that, the only thing that I can think of is I would talk to Mike, because Mike's 2.5 hours away, which for me, the state, Maine is literally 7 minutes that way, and Mass is 18 minutes that way. So I can get to either super quick. It's just I don't like their rules. They're not pro landlord. They're really heavily pro tenant, even when the tenant's done some bad things. So it's a hard pass for me with those. But that's how I would do it. But Mike is the better guy to ask that question because it's not a fit for me. Johnny Cashflow Ramirez, if you buy a house with an additional lot, do you look into building a house, or what other options? So I've done that. I've done. I have subdivided the land, sold the house to get me the money back that I put into it. And usually it's gotten me the land for nothing, or for 20 or 30 grand. I did that on one. I bought the property for $675. It was a 3-unit, 4-unit bungalow, single family house. I paid $675. I spent $7,000 having it appraised and having the hearings done. Had lot line adjustments. Was able to section off the house. Then just had the 3, the 4, and the 1. This then reappraised for I think $875. So I was able to actually write a letter to my bank saying, you've satisfied, or I've satisfied 70% of the loan to value on this property. So I want you to discharge this mortgage on this house. And basically they did. They discharged it. I got the house. For free. The house just appraised for 340, 342, something like that. But yeah, that's what I did. So I've done that. So you can subdivide it. You can also just get approval to build something else on that same lot. Your bigger value, you're going to have to survey it either way. So your bigger value in my eyes, based on my experience, the bigger value is subdividing and selling off. if you really don't need to depend on that land for anything. Hopefully that helped. Sam Farho, how would you buy an ADU? What criteria are you looking in that ADU? A possible video on pets and video on houses with ADUs would be great. Pets and houses. Sorry, guys, I didn't realize that. Pets. So pets is tough because every state's different. I can tell you what I do with pets. And video with houses and ADUs, that's also different in every state. It's actually different based on your zoning in every single one of the towns. So the first thing you have to look at is zoning. And then even if it's possible, then I would bring it to a surveyor and say, what do you think? And then if he looks at it and goes, yeah, I mean, generally speaking, we could probably work and move and blah, 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 and move this line and move that line. Still going to cost you $5,000 to survey it, or $5,000 to go through the whole process, $5,000 to $7,000 to go through the whole process. But I did it. And so with the ADU thing, that's really a zoning thing. And then once you have the zone where you can build an additional unit on the land, then it just comes down to talking with a surveyor, getting their upfront idea, and then getting a quote from them to do the project where they would build it out. And just look for somebody that's done that same thing in that city a bunch of times. Don't fly solo. Don't fly solo. There are guys for our city. There's really kind of 2 or 3 guys that are always, every meeting, they have some project they're talking about. So one of those 3 guys is a guy that I use constantly. So he's really good because when he runs into something, he just makes a phone call and says, yeah, I'm running into this. What do you think? And then they tell him, and that way we don't waste our time at the meeting. Yeah, you should do this. Okay. So that's usually what happens. You always mention that you pay for utilities. On my units that I do for Section 8 and the units that I do for CAP, I do, yeah. How do you check if tenants are using utilities responsibly, and what problems have you reserved and how? So I only do it for those types of units. I don't do it for my other units. Our other units are rent, and they pay for everything but water, sewer, because often in duplexes, tries, and quads, there usually aren't separate meters, so I can't separate it out anyway. And that's why I pay for water, sewer. But that's the challenge with electricity or with heat, is that they will run it up. And we had that issue this last year with 2 or 3 tenants, and that's why their lease isn't getting renewed. But the other option is that they can go to Section 8 or housing voucher, and they can say, we've agreed that we're going to do the lease differently where nothing is included. And in that particular case, the number is so low from Section 8 that I can get 20% more open market. So that's usually what I do. That's usually what makes more sense. Rich Bruto, Johnny Cashflow. In my area, that is all I look for. 2 lots together. Yep. Getting ready right now to start development. Next door, short walk to work. I love that, Rich. That's awesome. Congratulations on that deal. Rob, am I still looking in Vegas? Yep. I'm not doing the homework daily, no. Because largely everything is still overpriced, factually, not feelings. So Vegas is one of those markets that corrects hard. If there's any market that's going to correct more than 10, 15, or 20, it's going to be that market. That one, maybe Boise, but Vegas for sure. That's the one that always heavy corrects. Damn, David, I got your message. I'll see what I can do. Man, that's awesome. Good for you. I won't share that. Don't worry. I got it, David. I got it too. I don't know if Deanne got it. But yeah. Drew A. Dion talks about how he keeps his rainy day fund for housing at 10,000 per 7 houses. What is your opinion, and what do you think is a good number for you per 7 homes? Yeah, so I'm different. I don't take anything out of monthly for those costs. I just have a fund that I pull from. So just like a bigger fund. And in fact, largely now it's just out of cash flow. It's just out of cash flow at this point right now. So I just want to answer your question honestly. When we were really small, we were so razor thin, it was hard. We couldn't keep that much money set aside. But we had some. Usually what we looked at a lot of times was we were able to convince the banks that we could do it. Don't do this. This is what I did. And it was a different time back then. But we showed them, yeah, we've got tons of credit, so we can always, pay something on credit and pay it over, a 6-month period. But for us, we have just a massive cash flow that we have, that we do it out of cash flow. I still have, for like the oddest of odd, we still have an emergency fund, but we really never really tap into it. Excuse me. We really never tap into it. Joseph Heffley, Sam, the ADU guy. Yep. Derek Sherrill is a great resource for everything ADU. That's true, Joseph. Yeah, it's a good call. I forgot about Derek. Yeah, Derek's done some stuff with Mike. He's really good. Yep. Johnny Cashflow Ramirez, thanks. I bought one and brrr it, so the house is free already. Nice. I now have the extra lot that I need to find use for. Yeah, nope, for sure. Yeah, I would, Johnny Cashflow, I would look at same advice for you. I would look at Derek Sherrill. Yep. Because I've done it a few times, but or 2 or 3 times, but not a lot of times. Drew A, I have 2 units now, a duplex. Cool. I'm house hacking with a VA loan. Awesome. Got my rainy day housing fund to 5K so far. Those are all great numbers. I love it. Yeah, those are all great numbers. How long, Hustle Nation, love the name. How long 0 to 100 units? 20 years. Yeah, no joke. 20 years. Because we house hacked. So we weren't buying stuff with anything other than so over the first 14 years, the first 14 or 15 years was maybe maybe 25 or 30 units. The first 14 years, and then it quickly accelerated thereafter. But yeah, 0 to 100, it was 20 years, because we didn't hit 100 until last year. We didn't hit 100 till last year. Yeah. Yep, we didn't hit 100 until last year, and that was September, maybe October. September, October last year we hit 100. Yeah, and we've done another 17 since. It gets easier. It's easier, faster. Again, it was a weird part in the market last year. We just did a ton of deals because I could structure a lot of these deals, and in structuring a lot of these deals, we were able to get over 20% returns. Yeah, so it was good. Average price paid per door. I won't disclose that, because then you can figure out how big I am. So I don't do that one. First, he's late. Now he's yawning. Jeez. Rob, back off, bro. My son had me up so super early. My daughter had me up at 1:30, my son at 3:30, and when he woke me up, I couldn't get back to sleep. Yeah, I'm locked and wounded today, and I had to get the GPU done. For this server machine. Unreal. So sorry, Hustle Nation, I won't answer that just because I don't disclose to anybody how big we are. But yeah, 39 buildings. 39 buildings, 117 units. You can do a little bit of research on your own and kind of just figure out kind of what our market is. It's expensive. It's not cheap, but yeah, good. Chris Miller, does anyone in the chat know if I can use multiple VA loans if they are in separate counties? I'm pretty sure you can. It's by far the best loan out there, and I'd like to continue using it. So Chris, even reach out to Matt, the mortgage guy on Mike's channel. Yeah, LV Teach Me, same thing. Let him know Lumberjack sent you. Reach out to Matt, the mortgage guy. I know that you can. I think Dion, I'm not sure if Dion has, no, Dion hasn't used his VA loan yet. You can have multiple VA loans. I don't have the experience, and that's why I won't talk to you anymore about it. But reach out to Matt, the mortgage guy. Tell him I sent you, and he'll definitely spend the time with you and talk to you about it. For sure. For sure he will. Let's see. Better home rental. I tend to be only a call away if tenant needs me. Probably. Yeah, I'm only a call away if they need me. They had to. Rich Boudreaux. Yeah, he's played out. Good job today, man. Thanks. Yeah, it was a hustle weekend for sure. I'm so grateful tomorrow's Monday and not a back to work Monday. Oh, dear Lord. I am so grateful. Yeah, I'm definitely going to sleep like a rock tonight for sure. And I'm still, what is it? Oh, 5 hours away from bedtime. Not for me, though, for the kids. But thanks, Rich. Indy Zimmer, do we want to have all water and electric separate for each unit? Several show shared water and electric. So you don't have to. The thing is with heat, largely speaking, there's a bunch of people that tell you there's a way to separate heat. There's no easy way to separate heat. It sucks. It becomes a management job. So there's nothing easy about separating heat. So just keep in mind that for the rents, you should be looking at units that include heat and hot water in the price if you have to include heat and hot water, apples to apples. Because heat where I am, I don't know where you are, but heat where I am in the wintertime can be $300 or $400 a month. On one of our shared systems, it was 600 because they were just jerks. And I walked into their unit multiple times and it was in the 80s. They got a new thermostat. Yeah. Yeah. That's what's coming for them. Chris Miller, 0% down and it will cash flow $1,300 a month when I move out. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yes, I want to continue using it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Honestly, I love that my neighbor's a VA. Bought with a VA loan. Love it. Corby, I'm out. I wonder if job relocation qualifies you. Oh, interesting. Corby Carter, there are a few ways to get multiple VA loans at the same time. PCS is one. I don't think being in a different county would qualify for that. Definitely not an expert though. Yeah, definitely talk to Matt, the mortgage guy, because he knows how to do that. He's done it. He's actually helped people do it. My tenants seem to be rougher on my properties, and turnovers are running $2,500 to $5,000. How does that compare to your turnover costs? Not that high. Not that high. I would say consistently, and I've got college kids too. And I would say consistently, very consistently, we're sub 1,000. Yeah, I'd say we're sub 1,000. Yep, there's usually some holes. There's usually a couple of walls that need to be repainted. Usually a scuffed floor that has to be repaired, something like that. Usually a broken kitchen cabinet handle or door. But yeah, usually sub 1,000. Yep. I'd say one in 40 tenants owes us more. 1 in 40 tenants is more than what their deposit was. But in that case, it's not a ton more. It's not a ton more. And with things like carpet, right? When they move out, I don't put carpet into places, but carpet exists in some of these places. For me, I will actually, if you go to court, the judge is not going to give you new carpet because their carpet, especially when you bought the property in the last year, you knew that the carpet was in that condition. So I show them what the cost was of the new flooring, and then just show like a fraction of it, going to them, because, but in a lot of cases, I don't even need that. So I was gonna have to redo it anyway when I bought the house. So it was kind of the plan anyway. So that's not something I look to squeeze on a tenant. I just let them know the number so they know. Somebody was harassing me about getting their deposit back, which was $1,100. Their carpet smelled so bad, like cat piss, that we ourselves cleaned it for a solid entire day. Not me, but my guys. And then it still was bad. We had to bring another professional. It still wasn't good. We had to bring him back. When it was all said and done, half the house we were able to save the carpets. 2 bedrooms we weren't. To redo the flooring in those 2 bedrooms was like $1,500. But then there was a bunch of other issues, and like even just the cleaning stuff, like the cleaning crew. And I gave her all their receipts. I was like, here's everything. I was like, and I basically said to them, I said, I won't ask for the additional monies for those floors if you don't contest this security deposit return. And so I haven't heard from her since. So if she's thinking about it, she wants to bring it to court, I'm happy to do it, and I'll sue her and I'll win, because they damaged the heck out of all that stuff. And even the carpets that are still there, they're now smell free, but they're still pretty dingy after all the use. So yeah, so to answer your question, better home and rental, less than 1,000, I'd say, is my average. And those are for pretty big units. Those are for 4 or 5 bedroom units in a lot of times. Yeah. I've done multiple VA loans, yet at the same time in different states. Yet DTI comes into play, but yes, you can. Perfect. Thank you, Drew. Appreciate that. Yeah, reach out to Matt, the mortgage guy. Corby, I read that. Chris, I read yours. Rob, that sounded like a Meet Kevinism. Back off, bro. What's a real crime with Meet Kevin is, did you guys see the interview they did with Ben Mala? That vest is a real crime. What is he doing wearing that vest? Yeah. I like Ben Mala. I like him a lot. When he got COVID, I got really concerned because he's a chain smoker and everything else. And he was just a beast. Corby, Chris, perhaps not sure about all the rules. I agree with the lumberjack. Yep. Talk with an expert. Matt, the mortgage guy would be a great resource to reach out to. Yeah. Corby, thanks for jumping in on that. Like I said, I think that I know Matt's done those before. And I know that he's worked with people with multiples. And if he hasn't, then he has a guy who has, because I've heard him talk about it. I've been on his live stream a couple of times. Chris Miller, the tenant I'm evicting was smoking in the unit. In your experience, what am I going to have to get rid of the smell? I know paint. I'm taking out the carpet regardless. So carpet and pad. What I would do that a lot of people don't do is, after you remove the tack strips, I would paint some sort of an encapsulating paint. I talked to my Benjamin Moore person. You can use, there's a bunch of different products that they make, but there's one, I can't recall the name of it. But there is one that will actually trap in the smell. And so I would roll that on the floors and on the walls. In fact, that might even be that Aqua Lock product. I don't know, but talk to an expert, either a Sherwin person or a Benjamin Moore person. My preference is Benjamin Moore. But talk to the Benjamin Moore folks and just tell them exactly what you're trying to do. They'll give you the right primer. And then that's what you want to do. You want to do probably a couple coats of that. Honestly, you're probably going to want to tape off the windows. If you're ripping carpets anyway, your best bet is taping off the windows and having somebody just come in and spray it, because then they're going to get a couple coats on there. It will look better. You can use an HVLP, high volume, low pressure tip, that will give you a nice, beautiful finish. But more importantly is it goes through a lot more paint because it lays the paint on there in a nice thick layer. And then you probably won't ever smell the smoke again. The only other thing you're going to do is, depending on the heat, is if you're a forced hot air system, you're going to absolutely want to change out all the filters, and you're absolutely going to want to have your ducts, DUCTS, professionally cleaned. That's what you're going to want to do. What else? Yeah, those are the big things. So yeah, ripping up the carpets, removing the tack strips, painting, encapsulating paint on the floors, walls, ceilings, for sure. then you should be good there. Yeah. Yeah. The other thing you can do too is I've seen it done before where we've had cleaners come in and just wipe the nicotine off the walls. I'm not a huge fan of that just because it makes a huge, big, massive mess and there's still always a smell that's left behind. It's better than Kills, Chris. You can use Kills, but there's a better product out there for this. Just ask the Benjamin Moore people. So I think that there's a more specific, like a Zinsser, that's better than Kills at this, but definitely ask them for sure. No carpet now waterproof luxury vinyl tile. Love it, Keith. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, the only units that we have that have carpet on the floors, i.e. not the stairs, are ones that we inherited. We don't put in carpet. Rich Bujo, nasty stuff, but works. Yeah. Yep. Don't forget to clean the ducts. Yep. You got it. Exactly, Jason C. You nailed it. Yeah, you got to get the ducts cleaned. Like I said, DUCTS. But yeah, you got to get those things clean and change out all the filters on that stuff because otherwise it's just gonna be blowing through. And every single time that thing kicks on, guess what you're gonna smell? Stale smoke. That is a lot. I don't want to smoke her after hearing this. Yeah, yeah. A lot of them will say too, oh, well, I'll smoke outside in the winter when it's -7, you're gonna smoke outside. Don't believe you. There's no way every single time you do that. In fact, I've proven that they don't. Sometimes, but not always. Smokers aren't nearly as bad as people who don't take care of their pets. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Cats are the worst. And like I said, that's not a general statement on people that love cats. As a landlord, cats are the worst. We have a unit that we're going to be taking back. And I know that it smells like cat piss. I know it does. And that's going to suck. Because I know what it costs to fix that. That tenant's not going to get a dime of their deposit back. And they're likely going to have to write me a check. So we do it as inexpensively as we possibly can because we like to not have to dip into our pockets, and the likelihood that they're actually going to pay me is slim to none. But yeah, we had one job where we had to do 21 hydrogen peroxide treatments, 21 or 23, 20 something hydrogen peroxide treatments to get the smell out. And then we had to refinish the floor or reseal it and refinish it because the hydrogen peroxide obviously eats through the poly, but it'll actually come up through the wood and you just keep on wiping away until your rags are clear. That's usually how you do it. Rob, professionally clean your ducts, people. Exactly. Not quack quack, DUCTS, like the tape, even though some people call it duct tape. It's duct tape. Yeah, I think that covers that. Yeah, for sure. What else? What do we have come up this week? I think that was, give me 1 second. Oh, we ripped on a rotted roof this week. That was fun, but not really. It was literally falling off the edge posts. So we had to rip that off. That was fun. What else? Oh, appliance. Had the appliance, it was a refrigerator. It stopped keeping cool. Temperature got up to 71 degrees on it. It was a 15-year-old fridge. Normally I would replace that, but I found a appliance guide that says, if I don't fix it, I don't charge you. So based on that, he showed up, looked at it and goes, yep, I can fix it. It's $295 all in. Done. Saved me from having to buy a $1,500 fridge because that's the only fridge that would fit in that space was a bigger fridge. So it was good. Chris Miller, I'm wondering if I should file a small court claim small claims court. Yep. Once the tenant is evicted for all the damage will maybe be 3 to 4x their deposit. So here's what you'll need to do to set yourself up, right? You have to get quotes from multiple vendors. You can't always pick the most expensive one, but get quotes from multiple vendors for each phase of the work. So for like the painting piece and the prep work and that sort of stuff, like make sure that you've got all of that stuff in the same place. And then the painter, and then the flooring that you're replacing, and then try and give them, some sort of a credit for like I said, that part's tough. I don't know how a judge would rule on that. That hasn't been one of the issues in any of my cases. I've only had 9 in 22 years. So ask your attorney what his thoughts are. That's what I would do. Yep, that's what I would do. But show multiple quotes for every piece of it. That way the judge can't say, oh, you just picked the most expensive one every single time. Yes. And as you guys are leaving, I just saw, so Rob's going to do more yard work. Congratulations, Rob. That's actually pretty awesome. I did some of my yard work and I'm already so far behind. So yeah, Rob, thanks for coming. But yeah, hit that like button. I appreciate it. It helps the algorithm for sure. And Rich Boudreaux, thanks for all your help. Oh, you're very welcome, Rich. Smash the like button. Sam Farhill, thanks, Matt. You're welcome, Sam. Yeah, I'm getting close to calling it because I am like so exhausted. But I wanted to make sure that we had our time together today. I told Ashley exactly the same thing, Mrs. Lumberjack. I was like, I got to hang out with people for at least a couple hours and just answer questions. So we got pretty close to a couple hours, but I'm going to call it just because I'm exhausted and want to spend some time with my kids before they have to go to bed. And then I'll be on Mike's channel on Tuesday. And then Dion's got his live stream Tuesday nights, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Dion's always fantastic to watch. And then Thursday, 3 Amigos. And then I should be getting that special video out this week, which is a complete game changer. I've been teasing it for a couple of weeks. The approach is a complete game changer. It will differentiate you from every other investor in your market, or almost every other investor in your market for sure, almost guaranteed. So I appreciate you guys. As I said, for those of you that served, I really appreciate you guys a lot. And thank you for your sacrifice and for fighting for our country. So appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have a fantastic Memorial Day, and glad we were able to get together and still do this. And next time, if it happens, I'll make sure to actually cancel the YouTube as opposed to only notifying everybody on Facebook and Instagram. So I appreciate you guys. Cole Matthews, I haven't seen your name before, but I appreciate you, my friend. I know you've been watching for some time, but don't ask questions. I don't think you've ever asked a question before. Maybe not. I don't know. But I do remember your name. So I think you might have. But LV, teach me. You're very welcome. I'm happy to do that. So thank you guys. I appreciate you. Have a great rest of your holiday weekend. And remember the reason for the season, my friends. Take care. I appreciate y'all. Bye now.